Welcome, everybody, to another presentation of PX1 Sports. I'm Kevin Irvine alongside Mike Peters. We are excited tonight. It's the AFC and NFC championship games. It doesn't get much better than this, Mike.
No, it doesn't. And this first game should be a great one. We've got the number 3 ranked defense going against the number 1 ranked scoring offense, and then the number 25 number 25 offense in Seattle going against the number 4 defense in Carolina. So should be good to go. I mean, it should be a great matchup. Lots of things to look at. So I'm excited, ready to go, fired up. The teams are getting ready to go out there. So let's get after it.
The Carolina Panthers 14-1-1. They've been an exciting team to watch this season, and we saw the Seahawks just a few days ago top the Rams in a crazy wild card game. That was a lot of fun, and Bank of America Stadium is rocking. Seahawks and Panthers is right around the corner right here on PX1 Sports.
Yeah, you brought up that St. Louis and Seattle game. I still can't get over that. We were fired up after that one. Hopefully this game is half the game that one was, and everybody's going to be in for a treat.
Seattle's going to kick it off to Carolina, and the NFC Championship game is underway as Ginn Jr. is back to return the kick from the 10-yard line past the 20, smacked down by Morgan right at the 21-yard line. A nice start for Seattle as Ginn takes a shot.
So as I was mentioning in our little brief pregame, number 1 scoring offense for Carolina, 28.3 points per game. Number 3 in yards, 362 yards a game against a defense that we all know is great in Seattle. They're number 3 in points allowed, 18 points a game, but number 1 in yards allowed. So this is going to be a big battle going back and forth. Carolina's offense going to dominate Seattle's defense? We have to watch and see how that plays out.
So Newton will go under center to start the game. 2 backs in the backfield, including Jonathan Stewart. And Stewart's going to take the handoff to start the ball game. And a nice tackle there after a gain of a couple. Stewart brings up 2nd down and 8 for the Panthers.
For those of you that don't know, Week 6, the 2 teams played. It was a 16-12 win, 21-16 win. I'm sorry, for Seattle. What was interesting about that is there was 3 turnovers for Carolina, 2 for Seattle. That ultimately, I think, wound up being the difference in that game. Rushing-wise, they were both about the same. Both had 16, 17 rushes. Passing games really struggled to kind of get going. So defense is kind of dominating that game. I look to see the same thing early on in this game.
Cam Newton, 4,120 yards and 28 touchdowns for the Panthers this season. Out of the eye, ball on the left hash. Stewart takes his 2nd straight carry and picks up a solid 3 yards. Going to bring up a 3rd down and short as Stewart lifted some weights this morning.
Well, they actually had him tied up right for no gain, maybe a short loss, but Michael Bennett jumped on his back and kind of pushed him forward for a couple of yards. 3rd and 5. That's going to be up to Cam Newton here. He was only 12 of 24 in their first meeting. However, they did complete 62% of their 3rd down. So definitely something to watch, see how he can do. He's going to have to be a little bit more accurate than 12 of 24, I think, if they want to win this game.
Panthers 14-1-1, that lone loss to the Seattle Seahawks. Their really lone nemesis this season as Newton's going to go split backs out of the shotgun. 4 down lineman for Seattle. Newton back to pass for the first time tonight. Fires down the left side, and a nice job by Richard Sherman, actually the right side, intended for Kelvin Benjamin. He read that curl route immediately, 4th down.
Yeah, he just had a little curls play there, trying to pick up the 1st down. It's dangerous to do against Richard Sherman. He can jump those plays, get in front of it. He did jump that one. He just couldn't get his hands on it. They're going to force a punt. Now Seattle's offense can take over.
Great start for the Seahawks defense that was 3rd in points allowed this year. Punt is away. A good one to the 15-yard line. That's Lockett on the return. Tries to cut it back right, has some space, and gets out to about the 29-yard line before he is put down by the Panthers special teams. So it'll be 1st down and 10 for Seattle at the 29. Russell Wilson coming out onto the field, 3,956 yards and 31 touchdowns, along with Marshawn Lynch and Jimmy Graham and the rest of that Seahawk offense.
Well, we saw against St. Louis, Seattle came out, played a very controlled offense. They ran the ball a few times, then they threw it a few times. They mixed it up very well. They kept the St. Louis defense off balance. Be interesting to see if Woodsmall comes out with that same strategy here, tries to diversify things and keep Carolina guessing at what he's going to do.
Make sure you're involved with the rest of the PX1 sports community and joining us in the twitch.tv chat, twitch.tv/PX1 Sports, as Wilson will start the game with a pass. Fires it out right side. It's picked off at the 35-yard line and returned up to the 31. A beautiful pick there for Carolina. And it's a 1st down for the Panthers in Seattle territory.
Well, we saw Seattle almost had the interception on the play before. And the first pass of the game, he comes out and Carolina comes away with an interception. So an early turnover. As we said, the turnovers made a big difference in that first game before them. Shaq Thompson comes up with the first one. I know Wood Small said he wanted to attack Shaq Thompson this game. I don't know if that was the right strategy. He comes away with the INT, and Carolina's back on offense.
And it's interesting, Seattle started slow last week, and here they are again, starting off to a slow start. Line shifts to the left, and off to Stewart, and the offensive line did not read the adjustment. Nice job by Seattle there to get up in the backfield, a 3-yard loss.
Well, it looks like Brandon Meebane blew through there, got in the backfield, dropped him for a 3-yard loss, and this is, what you're going to see out of both of these defenses, I think. It's going to be really hard to get the offenses going. Like I said, in the first matchup, Carolina ran for 78 yards. Well, Stewart did. Marshawn Lynch ran for 76. So not going to be a whole lot of big plays, I wouldn't think, out of the running game. It's going to be up to the quarterbacks. Obviously they're coming out trying to run the ball, feeling each other out. The quarterbacks ultimately are going to be what decides the game, I think.
Newton out of the gun. He's going to take off, try to run. Seattle not fooled. Richard Sherman comes in and lays a pop. That's a loss of about 1.5 yards. Irvine also there, but 3rd down and long for Carolina, and we are seeing defense winning the battle so far.
Yeah, defense is big, and it was interesting that they decided to go with the QB run there. I would prefer to see them go with something more of a short yard situation, try to pull them out. But I think maybe they thought the running game's not going with the running back. Let's try Newton. Didn't work out for him. Long 3rd down here.
Newton out of the shotgun, 3rd and 15. Going to have to make something happen. Pump fake down the middle. That pass caught, and that's a first down to the 15-yard line. Nice throw there by Cam Newton, to Devin Funchess for the first down.
Yeah, this is a deep end. I mean, usually you don't see digs that go that deep, but he ran a deep dig just past the first down marker. Funchess got wide open. He's on Kerry Williams. Last week we saw Kerry Williams shut down the right side of the field against St. Louis. Didn't do it here in this one to pick up the first down, and Carolina's threatening.
Cam Newton had a lot of time to throw that football too. That was the big difference in that route. Stewart takes the handoff around the left side, gets bottled up around the 12. So still struggling to find some open space. Wagner on the tackle as you look at the rest of the Seattle starters.
Well, he got bottled up right behind the line, but he was able to get off, try to get outside a little bit. But like we talked about, the Seattle defense, they are going to swarm, and they're not going to get you a whole lot of yards after catch. He was able to get a couple yards, get 3 yards out of nothing, but they're really not going to give you a whole lot more than that.
Carolina trying to turn a Russell Wilson interception into points here early on in the NFC Championship game alongside Mike Peters. I had Cameron Irvine, 2nd down and 7 with the play clock running down. Newton back to pass. Newton scrambling around, fires it over the middle, and the pass is dropped and incomplete. Had a man over the middle, and it's 3rd down. A huge pass breakup there by Earl Thomas III.
Well, the fullback was coming out underneath, and he was open. He ran it just like they wanted them to. Got a good matchup, and he just dropped it. You can't have that. In games like this, you got to keep your hands on the ball. You got to convert. Brings up another 3rd down. As we talked about, they were 62% against the Seahawks last time. So, they're 1 for 1 so far. I guess the odds would say that they're going to pick this one up here, but we'll see. Seattle really wants to hold into a field goal here.
3rd and 7 out of the gun for Newton. Averill on the left side of that line as Newton drops back to pass, flips it over the middle. That pass caught by Funchess, and Funchess fighting for the end zone, got down to the 1, and he's got both catches for the Panthers here, 1st and goal.
Well, Seattle's going to have to do something about their pass defense in the middle of the field right now. They almost gave up a touchdown on the last one. This one was really close to being a touchdown, just a little spot play underneath. They're going to have to tighten up their coverage in the middle of the field there.
Yeah, Newton knew what was coming. Wildcat here for Stewart on 1st down and goal, and he's going to keep it himself, and Seattle's not going to be fooled. Seattle's defense just too fast for a Jonathan Stewart out of the cat.
Yeah, they are. I don't mind that play. They're trying to do something a little bit different, give them a different look, give them something different to think about on the goal line. It's 1st and goal from the 1. Why not? Didn't work out for them, so now they'll come do something a little bit different. See if they try to run it again. 2nd
down, goal, 4:43 to go in the first, just halfway through the quarter. Carolina's had 10 offensive plays. Seattle just the 1. The interception from Wilson. Play action, and Newton sort of got scared, and the pass is caught anyway. That's a touchdown for Carolina, and that is Greg Olsen. And Cam Newton sort of gets bailed out by Olsen there because he saw a blitz that wasn't there.
Yeah, he looked a little panicky in the backfield there. He wasn't sure what was going on. He threw off his back foot. Olsen bails him out. Ben's kind of safety net all season long, with 65 catches, almost 1,000 yards, and 6 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns in the season.
So 4:35 to go in the first. Carolina turns an interception into 7 points. That's what you got to do with turnovers, especially in the postseason. And the Panthers take an early 7-0 lead. Let us know how we're doing in the PX1 Sports Twitch chat. We'd appreciate all the feedback. This kick is going to go way out of the back of the end zone. I think that hit my grandma's house, and it's 1st and 10 at the 20 for Seattle.
So Wood Small's coming back out. Not the way he wanted to start this game. Had a great game plan, great start to the game against St. Louis. This one started probably as bad as it could have. First play interception. He wound up getting 7 off of it. Now he's got to regroup, come back out, move the ball down the field, and try to establish some offense.
Lynch in the backfield, the lone man. He's going to get the carry to start the drive, and Marshawn Lynch picks up 7 yards on the carry. A nice hole there for Marshawn. Didn't get touched until about the 25.
Good hole, and that's what they're going to need out of this entire game. The offensive line is going to have to control that line of scrimmage. They're going to have to open up holes, allow them to run the ball. They did it on the first play. If they can keep that up, they'll be in good shape. If Marshawn starts struggling and we go back to Russell Wilson, they already threw 1 interception, it could be interesting.
So Wilson is under center. Graham is off to the left side for Seattle. And the handoff goes to Lynch. And a nice little play call there as Lynch gets outside, got 6 yards. And that's a Seahawk first down. When in doubt with Wilson throwing an interception on his first throw, give it to Lynch twice.
Yeah, definitely, not a bad way to go. The one thing, though, that I think of is last week against St. Louis, he started off pretty well. He was breaking a lot of tackles, and as the game went along, it's kind of like he wore down a little bit. That age kind of caught up to him. So they don't want to – they have Chris Johnson in the backfield, and we saw him early on. They want to keep him fresh because you're definitely going to need him late in this game.
Keep an eye on Luke Kuechly as most do when the Panthers are playing. 64 tackles led the team and a bunch of other defensive categories as well. 1st and 10 for Wilson. Back to pass. Flips it outside. Easy throw. That's a 9-yard completion to the fullback out of the backfield, and it's 2nd down and 2.
Not a bad play there. You're just looking for something nice and short. Just throw it off into the flat, try to get some yards. Picked up 8 yards. Just patience. That's going to be the key here. Just patience. Nice slow drive. Pick up yards. Methodical. So far, they're off to a good start.
Baldwin, Curse, and Matthews are the top 3 receivers on the team. Wilson over to the right side, and he motions out to the outside. Graham is on the right side as well, and Lynch has an easy first down. Oh, bounces off a tackle, and then a missed tackle gets Lynch up to the Carolina, check that, 46-yard line. Beautiful move by Lynch.
Well, the Seahawks have to be extremely happy with the way the offensive line is blocking right now, and the way Lynch is hitting his holes. He's fighting off tackles. I mean, he's looking explosive early on. Not sure if he can keep it up throughout the whole game. Like I said, Chris Johnson is probably going to play a role here as the backup, but great drive going for Seattle right now.
So trips over the left for Wilson. Seattle down 7-0, but driving. Handoff Lynch, and Lynch runs into Kuechly and company on that Panther defense, and that goes for 1 yard.
Well, you mentioned Kuechly. Kuechly was the NFC Defensive Player of the Year. I was looking at his stats early on, and what blew me away is he led the team with 13 pass deflections.
Wow.
He was everywhere. I mean, he led the team in.
Had 6 picks, too.
In tackles, he had 6 interceptions, 13 pass deflections. He forced the fumble. Like, this guy was a monster all year. He comes in, he's on the tackle there. Definitely a guy that you want to watch out for as this game goes along. Certainly somebody you don't want to throw at.
Yeah, definitely. When 59's around, don't throw to him. He's over on the right side at the moment on that line, a 4-2-5 look out of Carolina as the play action for Wilson. He rolls to the right. He fires it. That's Graham's first catch of the night. Good open field tackle there. That's a 6-yard gain, and the tackle made by the Panthers secondary.
Well, Jimmy Graham, obviously the leading receiver for the Seahawks throughout the regular season. We saw him come up with a big play last week. He had that big spin move that, got a huge play, got tackled inside the 5. He's definitely going to be somebody that he's going to have to look to. He's going to have to come out. He's going to have to get something going. Obviously, they're trying to work him in slowly. He kind of went to him a little bit earlier last week, trying to get St. Louis to focus on him. This week, he started to him a little bit later. One thing I want to watch out for, though, is we just saw over there Luke Wilson. He's going to be somebody to keep an eye on, as I know Woodsman's going to look to get him involved as well.
Bindham on that last tackle. Baldwin all the way over to the left side. He goes in motion. Back to pass Wilson. Wilson looking around. Fires it short to Marshawn Lynch. But again, another good open field tackle. And we've got an injury down on the field that's going to bring up Seattle short of the first down. And not quite sure. Bindham had the tackle once again, but it's 4th down. Not sure who that injured player was.
Yeah, I don't know. And it could have been one of those things where you just got a little bruise or something like that and just hurt a little bit more. We'll see if we get an injury report. We'll keep you updated. Good stop there for the Carolina defense. They hold him the 4th and 2. Gonna be a long field goal here. I don't know if he's got enough leg for this, so we'll see how this one works out. They don't have anybody back returning it, though.
55-yard kick, and that's short and no good. And that's when you think about, maybe if we did have a a guy back there returning the kick. Bindham was the guy hurt, broken collarbone, so he makes back-to-back great open field tackles to force the field goal, and then has to come out of the game. Huge blow there to Carolina.
Yeah, it's going to be a big blow for their defense. But, one of those things is this team has that attitude of next man in, so they're just going to have to keep rolling.
Handoff to Stewart around the left side. Got some good blocking, and Stewart picks up a solid 8 yards. His best run of the night, maybe closer to 7.5. Wagner on the tackle, but Carolina back on track.
Well, they're across midfield, too, and this is one of those things that this is the downside of going for that field goal there and not making it. You give great field position to Carolina. Carolina already moved the ball well on the last one. So now they're out again across midfield. Seattle's defense going to have to come up with something big here.
And in the first quarter, Carolina 7, Seattle nothing, thanks to that Russell Wilson interception. The 14-1-1 Panthers on top here early on. So 2nd and 3 at the 48. What do you think Carolina will come out with here?
Well, they started to run the ball a little bit more. I wouldn't be surprised if you see them keep pounding it.
Play action. Here's Newton tried to fire it over the middle, and Benjamin sort of forgot the football as he tried to cut up the field. Newton throws that into a crowd, and we've seen Newton a little skittish here in the first half.
Yeah, I was going to say, that looked like a situation where he felt like the pressure was coming, and he was trying to get out of it real quick. Didn't wind up working out for him. 3rd and 3. If I see that, now St. Louis isn't a team that blitzes a lot, but if I'm seeing him kind of scared like that, I'm going to mix in some blitzes. I'm going to put it in his head. I'm going to show blitz. I'm going to try to get him happy feet and see if he'll make some mistakes.
Yeah, it looks like, in an effort to not get sacked and put yourself back, Carolina's rushing so far. It hasn't hurt Newton yet, but if it can hurt Russell Wilson, it can hurt Newton, and Newton's out of the gun, back to pass. Here comes a late blitz. Newton pumps into traffic, incomplete. So effective there. Newton is just off to a 3-7 start. And you talked about his inefficiency against Seattle the last time around, and it's showing its ugly head here early on in the first half.
Well, it's also a benefit of, or a product of, great coverage. There was nobody open downfield, and they were getting a little bit of pressure. Didn't get a whole lot of pressure, but he really had nowhere to go. The line finally broke down. He had to get it somewhere through in the traffic. Could have been an interception. It wasn't, so now they'll punt it away. That's
when you'd like to see Newton, scramble around with his legs. He's got 247 yards, 6 touchdowns on the ground this year as Lockett returns up at the 13-yard line.
So now we got Seattle coming back out here. They missed the field goal. They were moving the ball a little bit. Marshawn Lynch looks really good. Wilson's still a little shaky. Haven't been able to get the passing game going. I think I'd like to see them just go to Lynch here, just pound the ball, say, hey, if you can stop me running it, cool. If not, then we'll start passing. But as long as Lynch is going, it's kind of like Gurley last week in the second half. If he's hot, give him the ball until he proves that he's not.
Yeah, Georgia Fan 20 in the chat says, seems like Cam's going to make a mistake soon. And I read that, and I thought, oh, thanks for the confidence. I really appreciate it.
I'm sure he was not talking about you.
1st and 10 of the 13-yard line. I figured it out. And bunch set here as the handoff goes to Lynch on a counter. Lynch has a lot of space out of the left side. Not going to be the guy that bursts around the corner, but Lynch picks up a nice 7 yards. And Seattle's offensive line doing some good blocking here in the first half.
They are, and Carolina's getting walled off a little bit. He had a little bit more room. I wouldn't mind seeing him try to extend that outside a little bit more. But it was a great run, 7 yards off of the counter. Doing well with mixing it up, keeping the Carolina defense off base. If they can work in the passing game a little bit effectively, then they'll be in good shape.
Both defenses out and about, 49 to 44 in total yards in favor of the Seahawks. They have a 2nd down and 3 with 5 on the play clock here, with Baldwin out to the left side. Graham is to the right of the center. Back to pass, looking to the outside, wide open, and that is a beautiful yards after catch, and there's that Seattle spin move again all the way to the 45-yard line, a 25-yard gain for Chris Matthews, and I mean, he was all alone. I can't believe it.
Well, I thought he was about to be covered, and then it was just a zone. He kind of let him go, and he got out there. He made a great move. Matthews averaged 17 yards per catch in the season, so he is capable of yards after the catch, making big plays out of nothing. Did something there. Got a little spin move that Jimmy Graham got working last week. He got it working here. I don't know if that's going to set a trend with the spin move like it did last week, but huge play there by Matthews. Gets him some field position, and Seattle's on a drive now.
Well, it's not an easy. You just can't press a button and execute it every time. Seattle's done a good job of really executing some moves against the defense in the open field over the past couple of weeks as Lynch takes the carry, picks up another 3 yards, now 37 yards on 6 carries.
I like him seeing him going to Lynch. Now, I wouldn't mind seeing Chris Johnson being worked in a little bit here. We saw him a little bit last week. We know they'll move him, they'll bring him in a little bit, but he only had 17 carries on the season, so they don't go to him a ton. But it is somebody I know that they want to work in. They like to use his speed. So Although I like the way they're using Lynch, and I like the production he's putting up, I am kind of worried that he's going to tire as the game goes along if they use him this much.
7:40 to go in the first half. Carolina holding a 7-0 lead off of a Wilson interception, and right now Seattle is trying to drive to potentially tie the game. Wilson takes a long step back, a beautiful catch by Kearse inside the 10 down to the 5. That's a touchdown for Seattle. What a beautiful catch from Kearse.
Well, it looked like they had a dig going inside with a post behind it, and I thought he was, I don't know if he was trying to throw the dig or not, but the post winds up getting it. Kearse comes up with it, sees part, away he goes, and just like that, game's tied.
A beautiful throw as well from Russell Wilson, an 87-yard drive that takes just 2 minutes and 14 seconds. It's Kearse's first catch of the night, and Seattle breaks its scoring curse, and we're tied at 7.
That was a good use of the pun there.
I know. It's pretty fantastic.
I think Russell Wilson's got to be pleased by that. That shakes off a little bit of the rust, gets a little bit of the confidence back. I think now we reset. You know, the interception's off the mind now. We're reset at 0-0. It's time to play championship football.
Yeah, and a little bit of a cause for concern, I would think, now for Carolina, because Seattle sort of struggled to find that groove. When they did last week, they really looked impressive, and Carolina's got to make sure that things don't start to snowball on them here.
Well, they do, and the one thing about Seattle is they don't really have these big playmakers per se. They got a lot of guys that
apparently they got Kearse.
Well, and Jimmy Graham last week with the big
right.
play. They don't typically have guys that you say, hey, these are big plays, but if you start allowing them to make big plays, they become really dangerous.
Benjamin on the right side, back to pass for Newton on 1st and 10, and Benjamin's wide open, past the 40, past the 45, and a 25-yard gain, just like Seattle had on their own 20 off to the right side, and both offenses starting to open things up now.
Yeah, and this, interestingly, it could wind up becoming a shootout. There was a corner route out there, and he got in between the zone. He perfectly called too, because it's against a cover 2. So you're going to have a ton of hole back there if you're running a corner route in that situation. He was wide open, gets a 25-yard gain, and now Carolina's trying to come right back down and force it down their throat.
Finally got Benjamin involved, had been targeted a couple of times, but just couldn't come up with the football. But a nice route there from Benjamin with 2 in the backfield now for Carolina. 1st and 10 of the 45. Newton 3-step drop, fires over the middle of the field. That pass is caught by Funchess. That's his 3rd catch of this first half. And with 7 minutes to go before we hit the locker room, Carolina's on their best drive of the night.
Well, this is what we talked about with Seattle needing to improve their middle of the field defense. Obviously, they got burnt on the outside, but now they come back over the middle with the slant, and it's wide open. They're going to have to figure out something to get them, clamp down that middle. If they stay on the outside, that's not as big, but all these completions in the middle is a problem.
Hand off to Stewart, and Stewart picks up 1. Stewart's had a little bit of struggle to get going. Funchess is just 4th on the team in receiving yards, so the fact that he's sort of stepped his game up and found some open spots in the defense has been a huge plus for the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, he only had 23 catches on the season, but, they're finding openings over the middle, so they're kind of attacking it a little bit. Benjamin threatened on the outside, so they're doing a nice job of mixing it back and forth, and I think Seattle's kind of having a hard time figuring out what they need to call on defense to shut down the passing game.
2nd and 9, full house in the backfield. They fake it to Stewart. Newton's rolling around. Newton fires. Beautiful pass. That's Benjamin. That's another 1st down. And Newton is now 6 for 10. He's hit his all 3 of his passes here on this drive, and Benjamin's got a couple as well.
Yeah, Benjamin's a big player out there. He's going to be a guy that's going to be the guy that could look to all season. 74 catches, 1,366 yards, 18.5 average, and 14 touchdowns. That guy was insane this year. So he's definitely going to be a big part. Comes up with another catch there on a little comeback. Carolina's moving, and this has to concern Seattle, as they're known as the Legion of Boom. Not only to shut down the run, which they're doing a good job of, normally don't give up passing like this, and that's got to be concerning.
2nd in pass yards allowed in the league this year. 1st and 10 here for Cam. Hands it off to Stewart. Nice play there. Nice block by Olsen as well. But again, only picks up 3 as Seattle closes.
Well, like I said, they're doing really good against the run. They blitz up the middle. They stuff it. I think that's partly a product of Carolina's being a little bit too predictable running on every 1st down. And Seattle's starting to see that, so they're not getting any yards, forcing them into long 2nd and 3rd downs. Carolina's going to need to come out on these 1st downs here, run some play action, do something a little bit different here, kind of mix it up a little bit more, and then create some room for Stewart, because they're going to have to get to the running game eventually. I think if they have to throw too much, Newton's going to make a mistake. But right now, that's the only way they're able to move the ball is throwing the ball.
2nd down, 7 for Carolina as the line tightens up. Back to pass Newton, and Newton again off his back foot. Benjamin breaks the tackle, picks up another 3 yards, but if Newton was able to just stand in there and zip it in there a little faster, Benjamin may have had some room to run.
Yeah, it wasn't perfectly placed. If he could have let him a little bit, he might have been able to get the first down. But just a short route under the middle, get half of the first down. It's all Bill Walsh philosophy. You know, on second down, you always want to try to get half of it. If you wind up getting yards after the catch, cool. But just give yourself manageable third downs. Worked well there. Got a reasonable 3rd and 4.
20 plays here in this half for Carolina. 11 have been passes. Newton back to throw. Newton fires to Olsen. That's right at the sticks. I believe he got it. And that's a first down for Carolina. And we're starting to see why this team, Miller, on the catch. You know, tall white guys, they all look alike, right? And, you know, we're starting to see why Carolina is 14-1-1. They really know how to control the game.
Newton's getting on fire. I think he's completed like 6 or 7 in a row now.
So Stewart's out of the Wildcat again, and this time he's going to hand it off. And I think, well, almost got away, but I think Seattle was ready for the handoff because Stewart didn't have as much success on his first try out of the cat.
I know that was Cameron Artis-Payne, but didn't you think that was D'Angelo Williams wearing number 34, Carolina?
I bet they wished it.
They probably do. The one thing I don't like about that is they went to this again, and they ran it up the middle. Stewart kept it the first time. This time they handed it off. It was kind of like, okay, well, we did it the first time we went up the middle. This time we're going to go outside, and Seattle was ready for it. I wouldn't have minded them doing, you know, maybe a counter there or go up the middle again, try to fool them a little bit. Didn't really work for them, so now they got a 2nd and 12. Newton going to have to see if he's still hot.
Yeah, and with Newton, you know, looking so hot out there as Newton takes the carry and picks up 4. You know, he's completed 5 or 6 passes in a row, and you come out here with back-to-back runs here. You don't want to intentionally cool him down as Thomas makes the tackle.
Well, you know, that's one of those things with the Wildcat that I never really understand when you have a running quarterback. Like, the whole purpose of using the Wildcat is to get your immobile quarterback off the field, but you got Cam Newton. Let's see some read options or stuff like that. You don't really have to get too cute with the Wildcat, you know, because at least if you come out with a Cam Newton under center, if he needs the audible, he can. If Jonathan Stewart's back there, he needs the audible. What is he going to do, right? You're kind of stuck running the play you called.
3rd down and 8 at the 14. 2:45 to go in the first half. A tight one here. NFC Championship game from Bank of America Stadium. Newton back to pass going over the middle of the field. That's picked off in the red zone. Oh, big hit over the middle by Stewart. But the bigger play is made by Seattle's defense. That's Bobby Wagner. And a huge mistake. And Newton, he didn't throw an incompletion on that drive. He just threw one to the other team.
Yeah, and Bobby Wagner didn't quite have the season that Kuechly had. But he did have 5 interceptions on the season. He is a monster in the middle. He's somebody that you got to watch out for. Newton got a little too careless there and gave the ball away.
A huge mistake there for Carolina. A drive that was so promising stalls out. Lynch takes the carry. Great block by Graham upfield. Pickup of 6 for Marshawn, up to 43 yards. He's on pace for 100.
I think he had a little bit more room up there. It's almost like he went too far outside. He got too conservative in his running, and he ran right into Thomas Davis. I felt like he had more room to run up the middle. But Marshawn is on fire. Like you said, he's already on pace for a 100-yard game. Something that Woodsmall's had trouble doing all season is getting Marshawn going. He's got him going early on here. Might as well keep feeding the beast.
Wilson and Baldwin out to the left side. Wilson back to pass. Fires over the middle of the field, and a nice hit. I believe that was incomplete. No, he caught it. Didn't it look like he dropped the ball?
I thought he had it. I think that was a great route.
Well, thanks for leaving me out on the island then. I appreciate that.
Well, no, I thought he did, but I really like that play call because you have the drag underneath, which gets most of the attention, then you have the dig coming behind it. And I thought that was run perfectly well. It was a great pass there to convert the first down, pick up some yards. Now, 2-minute offense here. They're still pretty deep in their own territory, only at the 24-yard line. They're going to have to open it up and get something a little bit further down the field. We'll see how Russell Wilson handles that.
Crowd a little mum right now after the Newton interception. Tie ball game at 7. Handoff goes to Lynch, and he gets bottled up in the backfield. And they just know where to go there for Marshawn as the clock now begins to tick. Both teams all 3 timeouts.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. You know, you're trying to keep going to Marshawn. I know he didn't have a ton of receptions on the season, only a handful, like 11 for like 60 yards. But they already completed 1 pass to him. Maybe throw a screen, throw something else out there. If you want to go to him, do something besides just running it, something that can get you a little bit further down the field and maybe doesn't take as much time off the clock.
2nd down, 9, 1.5 minutes to go. And now you start to play the clock game here. Seattle, the quote-unquote underdogs in the matchup, played a road game in the wild card round, topped St. Louis in a wild one, and They find themselves after a divisional win sitting here at Carolina, and that pass is caught by Marshawn Lynch. He got the first down, and Russell Wilson waited for the perfect opportunity to make that play.
Well, did I call that one or did I call that one? They go to Marshawn Lynch just on cue, and he gets a first down.
First down for Wilson, back to throw here, and Lynch has another catch. That's his third of the first half, picks up 7. Wilson now 8 of 9, got out of bounds.
11 catches all year, and he's already got 3 here in the first half. That's it's definitely a different wrinkle to the Seattle offense.
When the opportunity presents itself too, especially with Russell Wilson clicking and Seattle trying to take advantage of that Cam Newton pick. That could be crucial, especially since Seattle gets the ball to start the second half.
Well, key thing, 11 touches already in the first half for Marshawn Lynch. Now, that's not excessive, but again, still want to keep an eye on that as the third and fourth quarter come along to see if he starts to slow down at all, or if he can keep it up and kind of lead them to victory. 2nd
and 4. It's more of a 2nd and 3, though. Graham out to the right. Wilson against the blitz, flips it over the middle. That pass is caught. Oh, he broke a tackle, and then another outside past the 30. It's a foot race, 20-10, and it's Doug Baldwin, and it's another Seattle touchdown. Unbelievable. Baldwin and Curse getting open, and Seattle has the lead.
Wow, the Seattle receivers are looking like big play receivers. I was kind of talking about them like, hey, they're not big play receivers. They're more grinded out 10, 12, 14-yard catch kind of guys. Curse does it on the first or the last drive for the touchdown. Here comes Baldwin out of nowhere, breaks the tackle, just outruns everybody. Huge offense. A couple of huge offensive plays for Seattle now. Now they're in the driver's seat. Let's see how Carolina responds.
So there was a 91-yard drive for a touchdown just now by Seattle after the pick. 87 yards on the previous touchdown drive. That's 178 of their 220 yards of offense here in the first half. I mean, just monster drives, and points off of turnovers have been the story here this evening.
Well, you kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier too, is that how is Carolina going to react to that now? They're not typically, you don't want to give up these big plays. Now that they've got a big play offense, normally you're used to running the ball. Now they got big plays. How is Carolina going to respond to that? Are they going to panic?
Funches to the outside. He's got 3 catches in this half. Stewart takes the handoff, and a nice job by Wagner in the open field. Little surprised, especially since Seattle's going to get the ball, that Carolina's so conservative right now.
Yeah, that is kind of concerning. I mean, they are kind of deep in their end zone. They're only down by 7. I don't know. That is an interesting call, but you go watching Bobby Wagner there, great play there. That run was designed up the middle. He bounces outside. Wagner says, "I'm not fooled. I got you." Wrestle you down, for no gain. That was a great play.
So Seattle's had 3 big plays in this game: the Wagner pick, the Curse touchdown, and the Baldwin touchdown, and that's put Seattle in the driver's seat right now. Newton play action. Stewart picks up the blitz and looking for Benjamin down the field. Newton again hurried. And what you're seeing is Wilson not in panic mode at all. Great protection. Carolina, the complete opposite right now.
Yeah, very questionable play calling here. He goes with the run on the first one, lets the clock run down, then all of a sudden, I guess maybe what he was trying to do is he ran it. He wanted them to think, okay, they're just going to run out the clock. Then he was going to try to hit a big play on them. So I guess I can kind of see that. But I almost think sometimes you can get a little too cute. Now, he almost completed it, and then it could have been big play. Could have said something different, but I think they're just going to run it out here.
Well, if it gets picked, it's like a punt. It's very low risk that Seattle's going to do anything. So I see what he's doing there. But that's the end of the first half. Seattle holds strong, and with big plays, the Seahawks 14, Carolina 7. Coming up next, it's the second game of a doubleheader, the AFC Championship game, but it's going to be a good one. The Ravens 13-4, the Bills 14-3. Should be a phenomenal second game there, as Lockett's going to have to step out of the back of the end zone as we start the second half.
Well, Seattle getting that touchdown by Baldwin late in the second quarter was huge. So now they get the ball back to start the second half. Got an opportunity to put some more points on the board. Now we know we saw St. Louis come back last week for being down 24-0. I don't think that's going to happen again. If Seattle can build a sizable lead here, especially if they can go up 14, I think the game could be in balance.
Carolina just 17 rushing yards in that first half. Lynch takes a 2-yard carry. Nice job there on Marshawn. He was tough to contain in that first half as Davis makes the stop for Carolina.
Well, that's what we want to watch now here in the second half is how is Marshawn going to be? He was going crazy in the first half. He was a big part of their offense. I think he was a big part in setting up those big plays, allowing them to get open. Can he keep going? Can the line keep blocking for him as or is Carolina going to adjust and start shutting that down and force Russell Wilson to make more short passes?
Huge defensive stand here for Carolina. They need to get some momentum back on their side. Russell Wilson and his receivers have made 2 big plays here as Lynch takes it around the left side. A defender fell over, and Marshawn down the left sideline past the 40 in a foot race down to the 34. That's a pickup of roughly 34 yards, and it's first down for Seattle. 266 yards all on big plays.
This Seattle offense is just in fuego, to borrow a line from Dan Patrick.
It's not your grandma's Seattle Seahawks.
No, it's not. And Lynch, he looks like he's kind of bottled up. He jumps outside and goes off run. Trey Boston just falls down and leaves a huge gain for Lynch, and Seattle's on the move.
He face planted too. That's America's Funniest Home Videos type stuff. As Johnson's in the backfield, and he will not get his first carry. Instead, Wilson keeps it. Oh, bad throw, and Carolina misses a huge opportunity at the pick. That was Trey Boston who had the opportunity, and Wilson just poor throw there, and he left it up for chance.
Well, Boston's hanging his head, and he should. I mean, he was a big reason that big run and on the play before he fell over. Here, he has a pass thrown right to him, and he drops it. He was hanging his head, and he should. He's a Tar Heel. He should be doing better than that. Carolina, playing at home. He's got to be bigger than that.
2nd down and 10. Seattle very lucky to get out of Dodge. It would have been an interception to start each half. Curse goes in motion. Back to pass Wilson. Flips it to Curse. Curse breaks through a couple of tackles and gets a first down. Wilson 10 of 12, but he's just throwing it out there, and his receivers are doing it all tonight.
Man, I like the way that play was. It was just a spot play, which typically you're going to see that little corner under there, but he ran a slant route behind it. So he actually had a little bit of blocking. He completed the curl underneath, and the slants out there blocking allowed him to get a few more yards after the snap. Picked up the first down, and Seattle's looking really, really tough right now.
1st down and 10. Carolina needs something. They had a chance. Boston had a chance at the pick. That could come back to be the play of the game. Matthews in motion. He's got a catch tonight. Back to pass Wilson, and Matthews has the catch. And Matthews got yak yards and nearly got another first down. Every time I try to count these Seattle receivers out, they just keep moving their feet.
They're fired up. I think Woodsmall's been feeding them their Wheaties. They got off to a slow start, but he must have got into them on the sideline, and they're fired up. They're ready to go. They're fighting for yards. They're breaking tackles. They're breaking big plays. They're making guys face plant. Like, this team's fired up, and they look really impressive right now.
2nd and 1 of the 14. Plenty of time here, but Seattle for the 2nd straight week has looked pretty powerful at times, and they certainly have looked powerful for the most of this game. Just shy of the first down. Graham is to the left side. Chris Johnson's in the backfield. He gets the carry, and Chris Johnson has stood up. A beautiful tackle there for Thomas Davis, and he could not have played it better than that.
Thomas Davis read that. Before he even decided which hole he was going to, he was breaking outside, and Johnson tried to get outside. He should have had a little bit of room up the middle. He probably should have went there, but Thomas Davis had it read perfectly. Great defensive play, brings up a crucial 3rd and 1 here. If Carolina can hold them to a field goal, they got to be really happy. They're only on a 10. If they wind up giving up a touchdown, things could be in trouble. It's still a lot of time left, but the way the defense is playing, the way the offense is moving the ball, I wouldn't want to be in that position.
Luke Kuechly's been pretty quiet. Obviously, I'm sure Seattle is trying to work their offense away from him. Only 4 on the play clock right now, and Seattle is going to have to burn a timeout. So, not the worst thing in the world, especially up 7, but Seattle got a little too not cautious there.
Well, I talked to Woodsmall early on in the game. He said he wanted to try to throw some wide receiver screens. I think this would be a good opportunity if he gets the right look to maybe throw one out there, see if he can get a quick game.
Baldwin off to the left side as Wilson calls out different signals. Lynch in the backfield, back to pass. And that pass caught by Jimmy Graham, bouncing off of defenders, picks up 7. Wilson is quietly 12 of 14 for over 200 tonight.
Yeah, he started off slow, and that's one of the things. They say winners can fight back. They can put the last play behind them. They don't have, they have short memories. Wilson obviously forgot that first play, and he's been on fire ever since. It's almost like it lit a fire under him, and he's like a man possessed. Doesn't hurt that the receivers are making great catches and making plays also.
Davis another tackle on that last play. He has 5. 1st down and goal. Wilson in motion with 2 L's. Lynch in the backfield, and Lynch takes the carry around the left side. Lynch past the 5, breaking tackles. Kuechly knocks him down at the 2, but we've seen Lynch have success, particularly on that left side away from Kuechly.
Yeah, I think that's good analysis there is they are trying to stay away from him. They're having success out there. They've got, good part of their best offensive linemen on the left side. They're creating holes. They're locking it up. If it's working, why not keep pounding it out there? So far it is.
Second and goal, Seattle trying to extend their lead, which would be the largest of the game for any team. Lynch takes it straight up the middle, and a nice job by Carolina meeting him at the 1 yard line. 97 yards for Lynch, but a beautiful job there by the Panthers, and it's going to be 3rd and goal.
Yeah, that it looked like Kuechly got walled off, and it looked like he was going to have an easy route in there, but came up, made the big play there. I was surprised. I thought Marshawn was going to run him over. Force him to a 3rd and goal from the 1. Now it's going to be interesting to see what play they try to come up with here.
3rd down and goal out of the eye. Seattle will turn and give to their fullback, and that's tough to stop on a 3rd down and goal. I don't blame him. Coleman he's got a catch already in this game, and Seattle just wants to be done with that drive. 5.5 minutes off the clock.
Well, I think they were probably keen on Marshawn too, so you try to go with the quick, just a little fullback dive. He gets in there, wants to punch it in. Now this is the situation we said Carolina didn't want to be in. They're down 14, and they still got a lot of time left, but Cam Newton's kind of looked a little bit shaky. The Carolina defense, or the Seattle defense, is starting to look a little bit better. We'll see. This is going to be a crucial drive for them.
Again from the 5, out past the 20. Again looking for some space, only to the 29-yard line. So 79, 87, and 91-yard drives for the Seattle Seahawks. That's demoralizing to a defense.
It cannot feel good for sure. Their defense started off well, and now it looks like Seattle's been up there studying the play charts, finding the holes in the defense, and they're picking them apart right now.
1st down and 10 for Newton and the Panthers. 21-7, down 14. Newton's got a lot of time, and Newton just threw it away. Benjamin, in fact, even had a little bump on Richard Sherman, and Newton just poor accuracy there.
Yeah, he definitely overthrew him, and it's interesting, too, that they're picking on Richard Sherman. Now, I know Kelvin Benjamin's a stud, but we know Richard Sherman is, too. I don't mind them going to Benjamin. You would think that they would maybe try to pick on Kerry Williams or even Jeremy Lane in the slot, but they keep going to Richard Sherman. I wonder if that's going to come back to bite him.
Yeah, you don't often see teams pick on Sherman, but when you got what's Benjamin, like 8'5" out there, it's tough to go away from him. Newton for the first time, really. Oh, he fumbled the football, and Seattle recovers, and Newton has not run a lot tonight, but Williams recovers the fumble, and maybe that's why the Legion of Boom out there making the play.
I thought it was Bobby Wagner. I think it might have been actually Cliff Averill. He was sitting there kind of, I don't know if it was an intended spy, but he was kind of watching him. Newton didn't really have anything to go to. He took off, he panicked, he started running, and Averill comes up there, lays the boom on him, makes him fumble, and it's not looking good for Carolina right now.
Superman. Not really. 1st and 10, 4:17 to go in the 3rd. Seattle takes over now. Turnovers have been huge tonight. Lynch, no gain. Lynch has been a lot more challenging to get going here in the second half, but Russell Wilson playing out of his mind right now.
Well, we talked about that, and I don't know if it's so much that Lynch is slowing down or more so that now they have the lead, they kind of know that he's going to run it. I wouldn't have mind seeing the play action or something there to kind of throw him off. Put the dagger in him, right? Put that extra nail in the coffin. Go play action. Throw some in the end zone. Try to get the touchdown. Go up 28-7. The game's all but over. Play a little bit conservative. Now you got a 2nd and 10. You're gonna have to maybe get Russell Wilson throwing the ball again.
Nearly 300 yards for Seattle, and we have not even hit the 4th quarter. Carolina desperate for a defensive stop as Wilson drops to throw, looking for Graham, and just all the time in the world tonight for Russell Wilson, and there's just nobody in his face.
They're not getting a big push up there. Lost to Greg Hardy. That plays a role. He was a big player for them on defense and getting pressure. They don't have that now. Now they're still sound, and they have good linebackers. Kuechly has kind of been everywhere. Josh Norman was insane too with 11 interceptions, but they're staying away from him. They're just not getting pressure. They're giving Wilson too much time, and he's making the use of it. He's picking guys apart, and they're on the prowl here.
A perfectly balanced offense for Seattle so far tonight. 15 runs, 15 passes. Matthews in motion. Toss play out to Chris Johnson. Johnson with some speed. Picks up a block, but a nice job by Carolina sealing the outside. 5-yard gain on Johnson's 2nd carry.
Well, I like it. You go to the toss crack. You're trying to get him outside. You've been pounding it kind of up the middle, working around the tackles with Marshawn Lynch. He's got outside a little bit. Now you bring your speed guy in. You try to get him out there. Carolina did a good job. They held him to 5 yards, but I like the play there, mixing it up a little bit. again, I wouldn't mind seeing Seattle try to throw something in the end zone, get the touchdown, put the dagger in there, but they're working the clock too at the same time.
Second down, 5, down to 2:22 to go in the third quarter. Lynch is in the backfield, and Wilson will hand it off on a draw play. And Wilson got stopped by a lineman in the backfield and sort of stumbles down, ankles of glass there as it's 3rd down and 6.
Yeah, I think he stepped on an ankle or something because he just all of a sudden he started falling over and lost his footing. I don't mind that play there. I thought maybe it was going to work a little bit better. It looked like it would eventually or early on, but now it's 3rd and 6. Could be a big stop here for Carolina. If down by 17 or 21, there's a big difference there. It could be a little bit of a motivational boost if they're able to get a stop here too.
Especially with all the long drives for Seattle that have turned into points. Wilson back to throw. Pass is picked over the 5. That's even better. A beautiful interception by Norman, and Carolina has sprung back to life.
Well, we just talked about Norman. He led the NFL with 11 interceptions this year. I mean, the guy has been phenomenal. And right on cue, he comes up, he steps up, he picks off that pass. So now it's not whether they give up a field goal or touchdown. They completely take the points off the board. They're still only down 14. We still got a quarter and a little bit of change left. Not an ideal situation, but now they got some momentum going. Let's see what happens.
The question is, can they get Stewart going? He really struggled in the first half. Stewart around the right side. Good blocking as a first down for Carolina. That's a gain of 12. And Carolina right now has got the cameras flashing and the crowd cheering.
Well, we saw this last week. Todd Gurley, I think, had like 9 or 10 yards in the first half, and then he broke off like 120 in the second half. Is that going to be something we're going to see here? Now, obviously, it's a little bit later in the game, but if they can mix in that run with Stewart and pick up yards and create some openings for Cam Newton, it could change the game. It could change the tempo and the flow of the way the game plays out.
Strangely enough, Carolina also 15 runs and 15 passes so far tonight. Back to pass. Newton looking around, fires left side, and the pass is incomplete. What a hit downfield in the secondary for Seattle. Newton's now 8 of 16.
Well,
Chancellor on the hit.
We talk about that momentum that they just get back after the interception and then the run by Stewart, and then Newton goes and throws into traffic. And I mean, he almost came up with it, but I didn't like the pass. There was too much traffic over there. It was really goofy. He got away with it. Fortunately, they're able to reset it 2nd and 10, but he got away with one there, I think.
Pass intended for Corey Brown. If that would have been Benjamin, maybe he comes up with that. Jonathan Stewart runs right into Bobby Wagner. That is a pickup of just 1 yard and a crucial 3rd down and 9 here for the Panthers.
Well, Wagner, that's only his 4th tackle of the game. Seems like he's been a little bit more active than that. He's kind of flown around a little bit. Big play there, though, just to hold him to 1 yard. Stewart tries to go back up the middle. Nothing there. So now 3rd and 9. We've seen Newton. He's not getting his feet set. He's not taking a lot of time. He's not reading the defenses very well. I wouldn't be surprised if we see maybe a little bit of pressure here and try to force Newton into making a mistake.
And the one time he's taken off, he got popped and lost the ball. So he's obviously going to be a little skittish there as well. 3rd down and 9. Newton looking around, has a wide open receiver out to the left, missed him. Oh, Olsen got away, and Olsen's got a first down to the 35, a gain of 17. For the 2nd time tonight, Olsen bails Newton out.
Yeah, he does. And the funny thing was, he had 2 receivers running with their hands in there like, I'm open, and he wouldn't throw it to him. Finally, he waited, I think, too long, and Kerry Williams was right there, but he missed on the tackle. Olsen's able to pick up the first down. Like you said, he bailed him out. Right now, Carolina's they're living dangerously. They're getting fortunate on some plays that maybe they shouldn't. I know they fumbled, but they've got to clean up their act here in this last quarter if they want to get back into this thing.
Well, they're living, and that's the most important thing. Easily could be 28-7 right now, or worse, depending upon how you look at it. Seattle has certainly had Carolina's number this year. The Panthers just 1 loss all year to these Seahawks, and they could hold them out from being in the Super Bowl. First down for Newton, throws a screen to Benjamin, and Benjamin got his clock cleaned. That's a pickup of just 1. Well played by the Seahawks.
We talked about Witzmo wanting to work in the wide receiver screens. We haven't seen it yet. Here they try to go to one, pick the completely wrong play. The Seahawks read it perfectly. They're only able to get a yard out of it. And this is just one of those situations where right now it seems like Seattle's just a step ahead of everything that Carolina's doing, and they're having a hard time trying to figure out what they need to be doing.
Split backs out of the shotgun. Newton back to throw. Newton's got time. Fires right side. Benjamin could not come down with it, and that would have been a first down. A good idea there from Cam, and Benjamin just couldn't haul it in.
Yeah, it looked like a comeback route. It was decent. There was a little bit of coverage. There was double coverage over there, but it looked like he beat the coverage and got back in front of it. But Benjamin, you don't see him often dropping passes. There he did, and now we're going to come up with another situation where it's a long 3rd down for Newton. He hasn't looked real comfortable in those.
Yeah, he was able to convert it on the last 3 plays ago from the 36-yard line. Carolina trying to stay alive and hang around. Back to pass Newton. Newton's running out of time. Hit as he threw, and the pass is incomplete. And I think you got to punt the ball here and just try to get your defense to get another stop.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to punt the ball. Newton couldn't find anybody open. Held the ball a little bit too long. Well, he got lucky he didn't get the sack. But now they're going to punt it. They're going to just have to rely on the defense to come up, either get a turnover or make a quick stop and get the ball back.
That's when you're used to seeing Newton, sort of scramble away and get out of that pressure. It just, he's just looked a little iffy all night, and that's a horrible punt. That only went 17 yards, shanked out of bounds. Seattle gets it at their own 47. Brutal stretch here for Carolina.
Like I said, they just, outside of Greg Olsen bailing out a couple times, they just can't get a whole lot going. I mean, Benjamin's dropping passes, Newton's fumbling, the punter comes out, shanks one, which you rarely see that in this league. I mean, this is kind of a disaster in all shapes and forms for Carolina. They're going to have to hope they can come up with something big here.
Out of the eye, Wilson in motion. Russell Wilson under center. Handoff to Lynch, and well played there by Kuechly and the rest of the Panther defense. Lynch still able to get 2, but it's almost shocking that he's still not over 100 considering where he was early in the third quarter.
The thing I talked about is we had to see what happened. Is he going to start to slow down? Like I said, part of it might be because they figure he's going to run on first down, and so they're starting to stack up against. Interesting thing on that play is Kuechly started running outside, and how amazing he is that he starts going outside, worrying about outside, and he cuts through this little hole in the middle and comes and blows it up for just the 1 yard. Like, that guy's amazing to watch.
Don't forget, coming up next, as you look at the game trends, the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills from Ralph Wilson Stadium. It's a Wilson-themed night here on PX1 Sports as Wilson drops back to pass, has time, and a nice job there defending Curse on a crossing pattern over the middle, and it's 3rd and long.
Well, he had the inside cross there, and he had the drag coming up over to the left, going to the left, or underneath going to the left, and then he had the dig coming behind it, and that's one of those you got to read the linebacker. The linebacker stayed deep on it. He should have took it and went to the mesh underneath, took the 3 or 4 yards, tried to force it in there, and got lucky that it wasn't worse than it is. Now it's 3rd and 9. This is actually working in Carolina's favor.
Yeah, this is the biggest play of the game here. If Seattle can get a first down, they likely milk a minute and a half more off the clock, and now you really start to go down the whole onside kick route and all that. So Carolina needs something here. 3rd down and 9 at the 49-yard line. Wilson back to pass, has time again. Wilson fires over the middle. That pass is caught but shy of the first down. Nice job by the Panthers. Kuechly there again to hold him short of the sticks. Baldwin's 2nd catch.
Well, there's a little bit of fighting going on over there. It looks like Carolina is getting fired up now. They got the stop. They ran a little slant underneath, and they got most of it. They just couldn't quite get there. Good stop by Carolina. Now they're going to have to get Newton doing something. They're going to have to somebody's going to have to get in his head and get him on fire.
Ginn will field it at the 9, and Ginn is smacked down at the 14-yard line. So, now we start talking about, which we haven't talked about probably enough in this game, is field position. Seattle's average field position, I'm sure, is well in the 30s and 40s, and Carolina just seems to be backed up just about every opportunity they have, especially in the second half.
Yeah, well, partly is the scoring by Seattle. They kick it off. They can only get out to 25. They haven't really had an opportunity to. But you're right. They started deep. They're deep here again at their own 14. Tough spot.
Newton back to throw. He's going to fling it outside. Incomplete. And Carolina looks a little desperate here. They've gone away from Stewart. They were unable to get him going in the first half. And when you become one-dimensional, especially against the Legion of Boom, it's going to be problems for you.
Yeah, I think that's like the 3rd or 4th corner route they've thrown there, and they're trying. It looks like they're just trying to force a big play instead of just being patient and moving down the field, and that could wind up getting them in trouble. So far, Seattle's played it very well, and not doing a good job finding open receivers.
Newton against the blitz, fires over the middle. That's a beautiful read, and Kelvin Benjamin picks up 18 yards. I've always said they blitz middle, you throw middle.
Absolutely. And the one thing that's different here, if that would have been Jermaine Kearse or Doug Baldwin, do you think they would have broke that for a touchdown? Benjamin just kind of goes down, and they're still going.
Newton's pass caught by Benjamin. He tight ropes the sideline. I'm really surprised at the no huddle there. 7 minutes left to go. Plenty of time. As you said, Carolina seems to be in sort of panic mode here, but Benjamin now 6 grabs.
Yeah, they are in panic mode a little bit. They're getting a little bit too one-dimensional. It's kind of like you got the little post over the middle, or they're going to a corner route. It's getting a little too predictable. I wouldn't be surprised if Seattle starts jumping that.
Newton hit as he threw, and finally the pressure gets back on on Cam Newton, and you know that's really been the main story of Carolina's struggles tonight. Newton just struggling the majority of plays to have time to throw the ball.
Well, he doesn't have a whole lot of time, and even when he does have time, he kind of feels panicked because that line you never really know. You got Bruce Irvine and Cliff Averill and Michael Bennett and Brandon Mabane, all these guys getting pressure. I mean, it's got to be scary back there. You want to get the ball off, you just have to make the right reads.
Newton back to pass, deep ball, one-on-one coverage, and it is broken up. Richard Sherman says, no, I am Sherman and you are Benjamin, and it's 3rd down and 10. Who's the better name?
Well, on that one, it was definitely Sherman. Again, I think Carolina's getting too desperate here. I don't really mind the shot there, but after what we kind of seen earlier, we're trying to go the corner routes. Now they're picking on Sherman of all people. I mean, at least go after Kerry Williams. I think they're just getting desperate. They're not really trying to think out what they're doing, and they're really hoping for a big play that's not working out for them.
10 of their 11 last plays have been passes. This is another pass, and that's broken up. And now it's 4th down and 10, and Carolina's sort of in no man's land here on the Seattle 45-yard line, and Stewart's just like, hey, anybody want to give me the ball?
Well, I mean, they have to throw the ball. You probably wouldn't mind seeing them running a little bit. Stewart was starting to show a little bit of flashes early on in the half, but they're getting too predictable. All their plays are starting to look alike here, and I think they're adapted to it. They brought a blitz there. They're 4th and 10. Carolina's just kind of all in all sorts of disarray right now.
I feel like Carolina's, they don't seem to be doing it on purpose. I think Seattle's in their head here as Newton drops to throw. Newton pump fake all day this time, but Seattle's sitting in a 8-man drop, and Newton's going to try to scramble, and they were ready for that, and he runs out of bounds, and Seattle takes over with 6:29 to go. Seattle just outsmarting the Panthers right now.
Well, they only rushed 3, and the left end got pancaked. He was double teamed. He just got pancaked, and he had all time in the world. But it was great coverage there by the Carolina by the Seattle defense, and he takes off running. He's got to try to throw it there. He takes off running, turns the ball over, and strange things can happen. But I think this is all but over.
6:29 left, and as Marshawn Lynch falls forward for 3 yards, and Seattle's going to try to run some clock here. Seattle's offense has struggled a bit more in the second half. Davis, another tackle, that's his 6th. Carolina right now banking on their defense because their offense has really struggled.
Well, as we saw in that one too, Carolina blitzed both of their safeties again. If they were, I know he's trying to be conservative, but if he takes the shot there, he might be able to put another 7 up on the board and really put this out of range.
Graham out to the left side, and play action here from Wilson. He fires to Graham. That pass is caught, 1st down, and Graham wide open out of the backfield. That's a pickup of 9, and Wilson back on track.
Yeah, and I like that play call there. You go with the play action, you get Jimmy Graham underneath, you throw it to him, you allow him to get the run after the catch, pick up the 1st down. Now, like you said, usually it's going to take another 1.5 minutes or so off the clock. Just keep grinding the change. Carolina is all sorts of flustered, like you said. Their play calling's kind of all over the place. They're not really sure what to do. Newton's not making good decisions. Everything going in Seattle's favor right now.
Right into Carolina territory, handoff to Chris Johnson, and he uses his speed to get up a gain of 5, and Carolina waiting sort of for Chris Johnson to bounce it outside, and he says, hey, I can pull a Lynch, and I'll just go right up the gut.
He ran for over 2,000 yards several seasons ago in Tennessee. The guy can run up the middle. He's a productive back. But I like this too, is you're taking some of the carries off of Marshawn Lynch. You're up here. You just need to kind of run the clock out a little bit. Don't put it all on Marshawn. Don't get him hurt. Save him up for the Super Bowl. As long as you don't make any mistakes here, you're going. Absolutely on board with this call.
Was that the 1975 season that Chris Johnson had the 2000?
A few years after that,
yeah,
I think maybe 2005.
It seems like it's just a long way away.
It has been a while.
3-yard gain there for Johnson. It's going to bring up a 3rd down and 2 here. 4:17 to go in the ball game. Carolina, all 3 timeouts. Seattle approaching field goal range to put this away.
Yeah, they could. I mean, if they get 3 here, it all but seals it up. They don't have a ton of time left. They do have 3. They do have their 3 timeouts, but being down 17 with less than 4 minutes to go it's a big hill to climb.
Wilson in motion, and a counter to Johnson, and again Carolina reads the run rather well on 3rd and short. Going to bring up 4th down and inches. Carolina calls for a timeout, and Panther defense seems to be, they're still holding up despite Newton's struggles.
Yeah, I think he might have got too cute there, but he is, with the wind, he's in field goal range here. Johnson wasn't able to pick it up, but we'll see what happens with the field goal.
56-yarder, bingo, and the 10-mile-an-hour wind works in the favor of the Seahawks. That all but puts it away, although, you know, ask the Colts what special teams mean in a game, and, you know, you never know.
Yeah, well, I mean, unless they get something really big, they're going to have to come up with a big play. And this is the thing, is they've taken a shot at Richard Sherman down the field. They've ran several corner routes trying to get guys open. If they're going to keep doing that, they kind of wasted all their bullets early on, because now they're in a spot where they didn't score on it, and now they're in a situation where they kind of got to throw that stuff, and Seattle can just kind of sit back and let the cover four and say, hey, we're going to cover what you're throwing.
Right.
I mean, what do you do now?
Yeah, you're really in a bind now. Benjamin in the slot, Brown and Funchess out to the left side. Newton back to pass. He fires down the field. That pass is intercepted. What an unbelievable play by Seattle. That's a lane, and I said it with just such nonchalantly, because that's how Seattle's defense has been in this second half, just taking things away from Carolina all night long.
I was actually unbelievably surprised at how docile that call was. I was expecting something big. I guess you were hoping that a big play would happen for Carolina, and yeah, Seattle was just making all the plays. Georgia fan had set the line at this game at Seattle -5. I thought that was too big for them being on the road, but they're showing why here.
Seahawks come into Carolina as Marshawn Lynch gets beanbagged around, picks up 3. Going to get the victory here tonight. Just an unbelievable performance by Seattle. This has been a better showing than they had against St. Louis. They seem to be getting better and better, like a fine wine, and just I wouldn't want to play them in the Super Bowl. Let's put it
I
like
wouldn't
that.
either, and it's going to be interesting, the game coming up, the Bills and the Ravens. The winner of that game is going to have their hands full with this team for sure.
Hand off to Lynch, and Lynch has a first down. Did you see that Panther get blocked clear off the screen? I wouldn't want to mention him by name because his parents might be watching.
His parents might be watching. We'll remind everybody, coming up after this game, we got the Ravens and the Bills live from Ralph Wilson Stadium. 13-4 team, a 14-3 team. This is going to be a huge matchup. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than this game. Definitely stick around for that one, as that one should be a great game.
A battle of division champions and a mini upset here to start the doubleheader as Carolina 14-1-1, although the Panthers Lynch just barely stayed in bounds. So Carolina doesn't get an extra timeout there, and the Seahawks will be able to run it down to the 2 in the morning.
So what do you do if you're Carolina and you come into the season, you go 14-1-1? You're going to wind up 15-2-2, including the playoffs. Your only 2 losses are both to Seattle. Is that something that you go in and you're like, man, do they overthink it and go into the offseason saying, hey, we got to figure out a way to get over the Seattle hump? Or do they say, hey, we only lost 2 games all year. It was this team, they were on fire. How do you look at that?
You watch that film as Seattle moves the change, and that pretty much all but seals it. You watch that game tape, and you say, I came into this game from what it looked like from a broadcaster point of view, from a fan point of view. I came into that game with it in my head that Seattle beat me last time, and I came out here and I sort of played skittish from the very beginning, and I got to figure out why that was, and how to better game plan and strategize against my enemies, because it does you no good if you run into Seattle every season and they keep knocking you out.
Right. Well, and that's what I'm saying. Is that going to be a mental thing? Because really, if you look at it, one of the big problems in this game is Cam Newton. Now, you're not going to go out and find a new quarterback. So how do you replace that? So you either got to get Cam Newton better, or you got to find a new quarterback, but that's not going to happen. And then I think it is a big mental thing. You win 14 games, but I think this could be the biggest mental hurdle that you could ever expect in that heading into the offseason. How do we overcome that? How do we roll off of this? And do we start coming back down to the pack next year, or is this something that kind of spirals us?
Well, and Carolina they just had a bad game tonight. A team that's 14-1-1 doesn't play a home game in the NFC Championship game and lose 24-7 often. They dug themselves a hole. Seattle got in their heads, and they just sort of panicked, and it ended up costing them their season. It's good to look at the short-term and the long-term type issues. That's a short-term issue. There's no way this team, plays that poorly and wins 14 games throughout the season. So Carolina's just got to take this one on the chin and move on.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, ultimately, overall, long season, 14 wins, 15 including last week. I mean, it was an amazing season, and you have to give them props for it. You hope that they don't let it get in their head and kind of let them spiral it. Z-Ben's a new owner here, so we'll see how he rebounds. I'm sure he'll come out, try to fix some of the holes he has. Probably just needs a little bit of experience under his belt, So Wood Small's a guy that's been here before. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been in this league for a while. He was more ready for it. I think he was more prepared tonight. Z-Ben, he'll probably learn from it, and we'll definitely see him back. Again, for you guys out there, we got a great game coming up. We're going to take a little bit of a break, grab some water, get the feed set up for the next game, get them all squared away. So give us about 10 minutes or so, tweet it out, talk about it on Twitter, talk about it on the forum, and then we'll see you guys back here in just a little bit.